spinning like a dream. Brooklyn vibes to the world it leans. Pixel warriors gather round, controllers clicking, that's the sound. Using games to break it down, from the boroughs to the global town. Welcome to the game lounge. Welcome to the game lounge, where the players hang and the beats pound. Golden Crust and CJ in the mix, dropping heat hotter than a joystick fix. Mr. Roll with Ash Ketchum, the OG squad. Now CJ brings the fire, no facade. Word game sharper than a ninja's blade. Every Sunday we got the arcade made. From Twitch to the globe we taking flight. Brooklyn roots, though we shine worldwide. Press start if you're ready to vibe. The Game Lounge crew keeping it live. Gather round, don't hit pause. For the gamers we the cause. Cheat codes, now we play raw. Gather round, don't hit pause. For the gamers we the cause. Cheat codes, now we play raw. Gather round, don't hit pause. For the gamers we the cause. Cheat codes, now we play raw. Gather round, don't to the Game Lounge. Welcome to the Game Lounge. The Game Lounge. Welcome to 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 the Game Lounge. Yo, the Sunday night we hit the screen. Golden Crust, through the Nick the Gaming King. CJ the DJ spinning like a dream. Brooklyn vibes to the world it leans. Pixel warriors gather round, controllers clicking, that's the sound. Using games to break it down, from the boroughs to the global town. Welcome to the Game Lounge. Welcome to the Game Lounge, where the players hang and the beats pound. Golden Crust and CJ in the mix, dropping heat hotter than a joystick fix. Mr. Roll with Ash Ketchum, the OG squad. Now CJ brings the fire, no facade. Word game sharper than a ninja's blade. Every Sunday we got the arcade made. From Twitch to the globe we taking flight. Brooklyn roots, though we shine worldwide. Press start if you're ready to vibe. The Game Lounge crew keeping it live. Gather round, don't hit pause. For the gamers we the cause. Cheat codes, now we play raw. Gather round, don't hit pause. For the gamers we the cause. Cheat codes, now we play raw. Gather round, don't hit pause. For the gamers we the cause. Cheat codes, now we play raw. Gather round, don't a Sunday night we hit the screen. Golden Crush, Gold Thunder, the gaming king. CJ, the DJ spinning like a dream. Brooklyn vibes to the world of themes. Pixel warriors gather round. Controllers clicking, that's the sound. Using games to break it down. From the boroughs to the global town. Welcome to the Game Lounge. Welcome to the Game Lounge, where the players hang and the beats pound. Golden Crust and CJ in the mix. Dropping heat hotter than a joystick fix. Mr. Roll with Ash Ketchum, the OG squad. Now CJ brings the fire, no facade. Word game sharper than a ninja's blade. Every Sunday we got the arcade made. From Twitch to the globe we taking flight. Brooklyn roots, though we shine worldwide. Press start if you're ready to vibe. The Game Lounge crew keeping it live. Gather round, no hit pause. For the gamers we the cause. Cheat codes, now we play raw. Gather round, no hit pause. For the gamers we the cause. Cheat codes, now we play raw. Gather round, no hit pause. For the gamers we the cause. Cheat codes, now we play raw.
Shout out to y'all. Shout out to y'all. Welcome in. Welcome in. Don't worry, GK got a good show for y'all. But first and foremost, let me do my due diligence. Welcome to the Game Lounge, everybody. Season 3, episode 26. I am your host, Golden Crush 200, aka Mr. 200. Y'all already know. Usually I would have my co-host CJ the DJs here, but clap it up for CJ the DJ and Monet. You know, CJ got to stay home and take care of little Cole Xavier. So shout out to him. That's why he's not here. And Ash Ketchum got things to do today. He couldn't make it. But shout out to the crew. Your host is still here. The show must go on, baby. And we're going to do this. I got a good show planned for y'all today. But there's a couple of things. First of all, shout out to Koza. Koza, I appreciate you, twin. First of all, I said I didn't have my peoples up here. Charmander has made a return. I called him up. I said, yo, I need you today. He pulled up. He's right here. So shout out to Charmander for pulling it up real quick. And y'all know my man Sonic is always here. And this is the Christmas Sonic too. So you feel me? I got the crew here. I'm still lit. So, moving on to the itinerary. Yo, CJ the DJ, what's going on with you, bro? Big Brooklyn, I see you. Melanated Monet, what's up with your sis? Cammy Player, welcome in. Can you please introduce the couch for today? I just did. Go already, but I do it again. Your host, Golden Crush 200. I got my man Charmander right here. And yeah, we talked about Charmander a couple of weeks ago. Like, where he at? I called him up and he pulled up. He's straight. And I got Christmas Sonic right here. And Bulbasaur ain't never failed us yet. Bulbasaur is still right there, being a little invisible because he's mysterious with it. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to all of y'all for making it in. Appreciate y'all. So we got a couple of things to talk about. Let's move right on into the itinerary of everything. Current events and everything we're about to proceed with. But like I told everybody last week, press exclamation Discord, because you know the Golden Crush and the made Discord is now one. Now also, big shout outs. I told you guys last week the new segment that we're starting up is clips from you guys, whether it be IRL clips, your TikTok, your YouTube, your Instagram, your Twitch, whatever we clip is what I want. And the server in the Discord is already set up thanks to Made Koza. Detroit Koza already set it up in the Discord. So you guys can now start dropping your links in the game. When you scroll down, you'll see it says Game Lounge, clips. It'll say it right there. Right, Koza? Yep. Discord. And people already started putting in their clips. That's something we're going to start next month. To start sending in your clips. So the first episode, we got about a good 20 minutes of clips for the segment. And we're going to vote on clip of the day. Shout out to Koza and CJ the DJ. Okay. So, also, the Diggs has his program he's still planning coming up. It's coming up very soon. Diggs should pop in today on the stream, but shout out to Diggs when he pop in. We'll talk more about that. So let's get into the nitty gritty of things. What's going on in the social media world right now? And the one thing I could think of is, I don't know if any of you guys, I got games and stuff planned, but CJ's not here, so I got to take care of the current events. I don't got it all fancy like CJ would, but I got this. You understand what I'm saying? So I don't know if you guys know that the Kevin Hart roast just happened. Was it last Monday? I believe it was last Monday. And two big things happened out of that. Well, I personally think it was a good roast. I don't know if you guys saw it. Let me know if you guys saw the Kevin Hart roast and what you feel about it. But we're going to get into it. Two major things happened in that roast that's been all over social media. Everybody knows that Cat Williams and Kevin Hart. You didn't see it? Okay, so, but Cat Williams and Kevin Hart always had this long-standing feud with each other. You understand what I'm saying? One of these surprise roasters just so happened to be Cat Williams. So we're going to watch a little bit of that real quick. I thought it was good. Seen a lot of clips on TikTok, right? So I can't have current. That's been, like you said, you seen it on TikTok. It's all over the place. So I'm gonna take a little bit of look at the Cat Williams roasting Kevin Hart. I loved it. I thought it was pretty good. We ain't gotta watch the whole thing. We're gonna take a little clip at it and see how we feel about it. But something else happened in that roast that's also all over social media that's not good. And I want to hear you guys' opinion about it. So let me switch scenes real quick. Yo, CJ, look at me. I got this, CJ. Hold on, chat. Let me put it up. We're going, whoop. Bam. Okay, so here's Cat roasting Kevin. We're gonna take a little sneak peek. We can't pass this. Here, it's the legendary Cat Williams finally face to face with Kevin Hart, and he get to say what's on his chest. Cause a roast, you get to say what's on your chest. So let's see if Cat Williams did a good job. Wink, wink. I think he did.
That's how little star power you have. They had to start inviting your enemies. I said, I hate him. They said, come anyway. Very humble of me to be at your GOAT roast tonight, Kevin. I've won an Emmy Award, but this is going to be my best acting tonight as I pretend like you are a GOAT. For the people at home, you're wondering, why is the Cat Man doing this? For the money, bitch.
Why else, right?
This is my Riyadh Comedy Fest. Is this day the best that the industry could put together for dear old Kev? I'm not sure if the Illuminati is real or if this is the junior varsity version, but for those of you just joining us, Kevin and I had beef, and I'll tell you why. Because privately, this motherfucker stole everything from me. Before he saw my act, he was a 6'3".
If they have real beef, it's been a long-standing thing that Kevin Hart and Cat Williams don't get along. They spoke about it publicly before. You maybe see when he was on the Shannon Sharpe, how he was dropping it. He don't like, yeah.
I tried to tell y'all that Kevin Hart was a plant. Cause I keep burying him, he keeps springing back the fuck up. Just like a plant. Yes,
Hey, Kitty, welcome in, Kitty.
I'd like to take back. Some things I said were misunderstood. I did say that Kevin was a Hollywood puppet, and I want to explain that.
First of all, Cat looking sharp.
Because it might not be what you think. I meant that the head of Netflix literally has his whole hand up Kevin's ass and can make him do anything. Kevin only has one rule in his movies: no N-word. And that N-word is no. Never fucking said it, never ever. Scary Movie 3, right along.
Kitty, did you see the roast?
Night School, Get Hard. I turned down all of them because I was not comfortable being a coon. Went right behind me for the same price. If you're going to see a Kevin Hart movie, do yourself a favor, see it in a black theater so you can hear words like, I want my motherfucking money back.
Nah, Cat a legend for real.
And I want my money back too. Or this is some bullshit, I want my money back. Kevin and The Rock have what you call a bromance. That's when two actors secretly fuck the shit out of each other. But seriously, how can you not love Kevin? Only two people have done that. Me and his father. Kevin once said if his son was gay, he would take a dollhouse and hit him over the head with it, which is arguably the gayest way to abuse a child. They tried to cancel him for being homophobic, and I don't get it. I'm saying the guy who's obsessed with shopping sprees and fitness, always surrounded by 10 dudes, and Chelsea Handler, and oiled up half Samoan bodybuilders and a vegan restaurant and bought yoga pants.
Why do vegans gotta take a straight hit though?
That guy is a fairy, bitch.
He said he's a fairy bitch.
That's the gayest man I ever met. You slay queen. You do that.
You slay queen.
They tried to cancel Kevin for the Diddy parties.
You slay queen is crazy.
But thanks to all the baby oil, the charges didn't stick. Kevin was at a bunch of Diddy parties, but in his defense, it was only because Diddy thought he was 10. Kevin even hosted a record release party for P. Diddy. There was a record number of releases on the bed, in the pool, on the floor.
That's nasty
everywhere
word.
but the hose. But I want to be clear.
All right, what y'all think about the Cat Williams roasted Kevin? What y'all think about that? I thought Cat killed. While I was watching it, I didn't expect Cat of all people to come out. I ain't expect Cat of all people to come out. That's not who you expected at Kevin Hart anything. Is Cat Williams popping out. But, you know, I guess he said he roasted him. Yeah, he did a good job. So, that was good. That part of it was good. But there's another controversial part of the show that happened that's having a big backlash. I don't know if you guys know about that part, right? So, we're going to listen to the joke that the comedian made that's causing a backlash in the, I guess you could say, in the community, the social media. It's having a big backlash. It's all over social media, and we're going to talk about it. So we all love Cat Williams for coming out. He roasted Kev. Clap it up again, because Cat is a fucking legend. I don't care what nobody got to say. Cat's a fucking legend. Living legend. You feel me? And it was, yeah, I agree, CJ. I agree. Roast never hold back. They borderline controversial. Exactly. So we gonna talk about this other little I guess you could say incident. Okay, here it is. Couldn't get it any better. It's the best one I could find. So this, well, I believe he's what's his name? Something Hinchlin? Forgot his name. He made a joke, and the joke was concerning George Floyd, and it's having a backlash. I just want to know what you guys think. It's not turning out well for this comedian and this joke and whatever you want to call it. Take a listen.
Say, you did good. They've gotten so big, they now buckle Kevin up in the car seat. It's true, he lost his gig hosting the Academy Awards because of some homophobic tweets, but you'd be homophobic too if you were eye level with everyone's cock. He got into a fist fight on a private plane, proof that no matter how much money black people have, they're still just gonna act like ninjas.
I think the joke's about to come.
Like Bill Cosby, Hart is a black comedian from Philadelphia, and like Bill Cosby, women don't know when
Listen
Kevin
up.
is
I'm pointing when the
inside
joke
of them.
hits.
You've done good though, Kevin. The black community is
Right
so
here.
proud of you. Right now, George Floyd is looking up at us all, laughing so hard that he can't breathe.
Got even to run that back. Did you guys hear the joke? Cause that joke is not really hitting on the after effect after the show. It's having a really big backlash right now. What do you guys think about that? I'm gonna let it run one more time.
You know, Kevin, they told me not to mention your kids on this roast, but I must say, you did good. They've gotten so big, they now buckle Kevin up in the car seat. It's true, he lost his gig hosting the Academy Awards.
I'm gonna let it run one more time.
Homophobic
Let it run
tweets,
one more
but you'd
time.
be homophobic too if you were eye level with everyone's cock.
I'm gonna point the joke out for everybody
You got into
again.
a fist fight on a private plane, proof that no matter how much money black people have, they're still just gonna act like ninjas. Was fighting. Like Bill Cosby, Hart is a black comedian from Philadelphia, and like Bill Cosby, women don't know when Kevin is inside of them. You've done good though, Kevin. The black community
Right
is
here.
so proud of you. Right now, George Floyd is looking up at us all, laughing so hard that he can't breathe.
Ah, the joke was cold. It was cold, chat. What y'all think? What y'all think? Let's talk about it. You think he went too far? You think because he's in the standards of a roast that it's okay? You think because if you watch the show, they were throwing racist jokes the whole show. And they do that every roast. Do you think that went too far? You think that was too much? What you saying? Matt Gaiman, I appreciate you for the stream streak, brother. I appreciate you, bro. I mean, everything he said, most of the shit he said is OD. He said Tony Henson said worse, his whole value is to be as shocking as possible. Melanetti Monet said, nah, that's OD. At the same time, thought comedy has no boundaries. But you see what I'm saying? That's kind of where like, you know what I'm saying? Because another black lady on the show, comedian on the show, Cheryl Underwood. I'm pretty sure you guys know Cheryl Underwood. If you don't, look her up. She's pretty well known black comedian. They made fun of her dead husband, like who committed S word. You know what I mean? They made fun of that. Pete Davidson, they stay making fun of his father who passed away at 911 emergency number date. You understand what I'm saying? So, I mean, I don't know. I'm really conflicted because I'm part of the community. You feel me? And honestly, I love my peoples, but I don't know if I want to say like this is the time for the uproar over this. But I don't know. I'm conflicted. Let me catch up with chat. That ninja joke was way worse. The ninja joke was. You see what I'm saying? You feel like the ninja joke was worse? CJ said he need his ass whipped. Comedians always go too far. She mad funny. Yo, yeah, she was the only roast of that whole roast that got a standing ovation. Cheryl Underwood murdered that shit. She murdered that shit. She bodied that shit. But she kept her grace though. I don't know. I don't know. Yo, Don Avi, what's up, bro? Yep. You know, CJ the DJ at home taking care of the baby and the wife and everything. Would it sit well with you if a black man said it? That's a good question. That's a good question. I guess I would put it in the same bracket that I'm putting it in now. As a comedian, is it okay? As a comedian, is it okay? Is what I'm saying. Because other comedians, even white comedians, I mean, even black comedians, white comedians, have gotten some backlash for saying a lot of different type of shits. You know what I'm saying? Is it, you know what I mean? Like, what are we saying? Yo, what's going on, Mr. Four? Shit, a lot of people. That I was thinking that too, sis. A lot of people's. I guess because maybe he was part of the production for this roast. He is in there with Netflix. I don't know what they're coming at him, but he's the star of the show, I guess. So, but then again, here's a real question that I have, because if you guys watch that roast like I did, I was watching it live. Shane Gillis, the host of the day, he literally, and he's not the only one, but he literally said they're reading a teleprompter. He literally said, "I didn't write the joke." And you can see them going, no, go back. I'm gonna do the joke. I'm gonna do the joke. Go back. They can see the joke before they read it. I don't know if he wrote that joke himself or if it was written for him, because they don't write all of that shit themselves. Draymond Green did not write his jokes, and he said it. You get what I'm saying? So if it was written for him, Shane Gillis even also said Netflix said to be racist. They said be racist, be nasty. He said they said it. It's a roast. You see what I'm saying? I don't know if he actually wrote the joke or if it was written for him. He said, I don't know. He said that it is comfy. It is comfy as shit. Yo, Ro, what up, Ro? I'm just saying, I don't know. I'm not gonna say I feel great about it, but all right, I'm gonna give you guys my personal synopsis. When I first watched it, because I seen the shit live. When I first watched it, it didn't bother me personally. I was like, ooh, he went there. Ooh. You know what I mean? I had that kind of reaction, like, ooh, damn. Bro went there. You feel me? But I didn't feel upset. You feel me? I didn't feel like, for me, it was just like, all right, it's a roast. It's not a political conversation. You feel me? It was a roast. I let it go. But then it came up on social media, and then I started thinking about it, and blah, 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 blah. And I was, you know what I'm saying? I figured we could talk about it. That hack had you messed up. I do fall into a slumber sometimes on the couch. You feel me? I don't know. I don't know how I feel, if I should feel offended by this or not. I'll say one thing though. The joke was a bit of a stretch to be extra. It was a bit of a stretch, because George Floyd ain't got nothing to do with Kevin Hart. I could honestly say that. Nah, going to Toronto soon. Oh, you going to Toronto? Shit. Yo, Don Ave, I told you my pops live out there in Canada. So I guess that's how we feel about this. It doesn't really seem like, you know what I mean? Like everybody's too over the hills about it. I kind of feel like when I first was talking about it with somebody, my first opinion was it's a roast. They're going to go there. And it's not the only joke of the night that was extra. Big Brooklyn says, so you think the joke was personal and they used the roast to be slick? It could be. I don't know. But what I will say is, it's not the only joke of the night that was extra. Is what I'm saying. It's not the only joke. I'm not saying it's right. Not really going to argue on that. How the family of George Floyd should feel. I'm not getting into that. But it wasn't the only joke of the night that was a slap to the face. Like, it was a few jokes that was like, damn, they really pushing the line. Like Ash said, if a black man said it, of it's a joke, including the ninja part, but the nigga instead, the George Floyd joke still would be fucked up. I actually agree. I still think we would be here with it. I still think we would be here with it. You get what I'm saying? Yeah, check the roast out. Check the roast out, Don Avi. Check the roast out. It's a pretty good roast. That's how I feel. It's a roast, and I've heard way worse, to be honest. Me too. Comedy goes both ways. Racism is a big part of comedy. Sad but true. It is. Racism been a big part of comedy. Been a big part of comedy, bro. Racism, bigotry. It's kind of a way for people to just Laugh about it. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying laugh about G Floyd situation. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying comedy in general. You get what I'm saying? Comedy is one of the best ways to process trauma. That trauma doesn't stop at injustice we face. I gotta clap that up. I gotta clap that up. That is definitely true. I've seen comedian use very bad things to get a point across and still make the joke hit. You know what I'm saying? But hey, my God, Potato, clap it up for sis. What's going on? Long time no see, sis. How you been? How you doing? How you been, sis? Welcome in. Oh my God, I missed you. All right. All right. So I got one more question. They got to do current events. Music, we got to talk about it. Drake just dropped 3 albums. I haven't personally heard any of them, including the long-awaited Iceman. Anybody have anything to say about the Drake album, the Iceman? A lot of people talking about it in social media. Is it good? Is it bad? But I can't say this, though. If you're talking about selling, from what I'm hearing, clean off the shelves. Clean off the shelves. I mean, you said what draws the line between pushing it too far? That's the thing. I don't know. Even this joke here, I've heard worse. I've heard worse. Drake dropping 3 albums is crazy. That is crazy. And I'm not here to be biased and all of that. None of that shit. Because I haven't heard the albums. It looks like it has mixed reviews from social media, but that's not my personal opinion. I'm asking you guys. What do you guys think? Has anybody heard the album? Has anybody listened to any of the album? Has anybody heard Iceman specifically? Because that's the only one I knew he was going to drop was Iceman. He did the whole big old ice thing with the countdown in the middle and all that corny shit, right? Has anybody heard the album? Anybody got any update? Because the boy's selling it. He making movements. He making movements. Mad numbers. Crazy. Hey, I can't be mad. I can't be mad. He making that money right now. So I can't stand Drake. Dropped 3 albums to get out of a contract, so that was a good business move. I gotta agree. I gotta agree. But he still sound like made music for teenage girls. I mean, that's his flow, I guess. I know what you're talking about. He got that commercial vibe type shit. I mean, I ain't mad at it though. You know what I mean? I heard Iceman and it was underwhelming for all the promoting he was doing. Really? And I take your word for it because I know you're a Drake fan. That's Ash, y'all. Ash is a Drake fan. He said it here on the show. So I take your word for it. Wow. Okay. Haven't heard the other 2. Haven't heard any of them. All right. I figured we talk about it because everybody talking about it. This is what I hate. This is what I hate. This is what I personally hate. Okay, the beef is over. It's like 2 years ago. Everybody in social media is bringing up the beef and he's selling more than this person. The beef is over. Leave it alone. Drake dropped his shit. Let's see what happens. The shit's dead. I hate that people going back 2 years and I ain't got time for all that. The beef is over. Leave that shit alone. Leave that shit alone. You got a couple of songs you like. I don't really fuck with Drake like that. Sometimes he can drop bars, but not the biggest. I don't really Drake do he could drop some bars, but I don't really be like, I want to listen to Drake's song for some bars. He just be having some hits, and I can't front on it. I'm gonna keep it a buck. And I've always said that. Bro be dropping some hits. I haven't heard any of the new shits, Iceman and all that. But I mean, bro got a long-standing career of dropping some steady hits now. I can't front. I mean, Drake got a couple of bangers, don't get me wrong. He easy to market. I 100% agree with Koza. He got a lot of bangers. He got a whole ton of them. He got catalogs of them shits. But yeah, it's just not, you know what I mean? I like the Drake song Too Hard for the Radio. I heard he going solo now. And you know what? That probably is probably a good business move for him. He could do it. He could definitely do it. He got the star power. Definitely. Whether you like it or not. I actually think that's a great idea for him. I actually think that's a great idea for Drake. So, chat, y'all ready to get into some games and have some fun? Let me know. Or y'all got something else y'all want to talk about. What y'all want to do? Because I got some shit. Let me get shit ready because y'all wildin'. Let me get shit ready. Okay, so I have something to show you guys, right? We talked about, yo, Ant, what's going on with you, my guy? OTF Ant, appreciate you for popping in. Talked about you guys sending us in your videos and stuff. So I have a video here from Cammy Player that I'm going to show you guys. I love this video. I love this video. So let's take a little look at what Cammy Player sent me. You guys can send videos like this in as well. Give me a second, chat. I'll BRB. 1 second. All right, my bad, chat. Only person that could disrupt the goddamn show is Mom Dukes. Whew. All right. So, let's take a little look at this video that we got all the way from, well, you guys to see. I don't got to ruin it. This video right here, sent to us. This is just an example of any kind of videos you guys can send it. And I personally had loved this video. Let's check it out. I'm drinking some wine, brother. And again, thank you, Cammy Player, for this video right here. Again, any type of video, just as long as it's created by you guys. And I really love this video. So I'm using it as the proper example of, like I said, whatever you guys make is what we watch. See how we like it. So let's learn a little bit. This is a good video. Let's learn a little bit. I love it. There you go. Twitch at Cammy Player.
Today is
That's all the way in
Mother's Day.
Brazil, guys.
I was visiting some family, and now I'm on my way home. I decided to take the long way home, which is to walk home. And before I walk home, I decided to finally walk on this place. So we have this river here. It's called Itajaí-Açu. It's the main river.
Itajaí-Açu.
Over there on the other side.
Fuck you, Olo. On that back. I want to pronounce that.
This river here, it's called Itajaí-Açu.
Itajaí-Açu. Did I say it right? Itajaí-Açu. I said that right. I think I caught that. I said that right.
River here, it's called Itajaí-Açu.
Itajaí-Açu. There you go. There, Itajaí-Açu. Ah, fuck you, nigga. We learning some shit.
The main river of the town. Over there on the other side, you can see the center of the town, Blumenau. That's where most of the stuff is. This side of the river used to be quite simple, quite ugly even. About maybe 2-3 years ago, they started to revamp this, and now it looks really nice, which includes this new pathway here. I've always seen from the other side, because I'm over there quite often. I've always seen from the other side, but I haven't.
I love this
yet
video.
come here. So that's what I'm doing.
Yes,
today.
sir, Big Brooklyn.
So I'm going.
I hate to pause the video, but Big Brooklyn, you know Cammy plays from Brazil. This is the video of an area in Brazil that he's showing and teaching us about. So I was just using this example of the kind of videos that any type of video we accept for our upcoming segment. I love this video. This is that river is the Itagiaçu. See, I learned that.
This way all the way to the end.
So we're looking at Brazil
and
right
then
now.
I'll go back all the way back on my way home. But yeah, this
That's a beautiful walk home, bro.
probably looks familiar to other places you might have been.
Oh yeah, my bad. That's Baldoni. Thank you, Ash.
Looks nice.
So yeah, man, show me videos from all over y'all cities, all over y'all towns, gaming, everything, shit like that. Cammy Play, I appreciate you for sending that in, man. That was beautiful. I've been at his time for Oktoberfest 6 times. Hey, man, listen. I know you was gonna be there for Oktoberfest. I know why you there for October. He told me already what goes down in the town in October. You over there drinking, Baldoni. You over there drinking. He drinking, chat, 6 times. 6 times. You drink. You're drinking. Yeah, Baldoni has been here, but stopped after playing me in. I agree with you, Cammy Play. Suspiciously, right? Suspiciously, he just stopped pulling up. Cam, I appreciate the video. Keep sending us more interesting videos like that we could show right here on the show. I appreciate you. I ain't never seen Brazil personally from afar except through Cammy Player, and I appreciate you for that. It's a beautiful place, isn't it? It's a beautiful place. It's a beautiful fucking place. Yo, what up with your Stu? Stu, welcome in, Stu. The awesome Mareko Rochiado. Mareko Rochiado. You see that? I'm learning Brazilian Portuguese. I was gonna say I'm learning Brazilian language. I'm learning Portuguese. What did you say again? Drinking and eating. Okay, my bad. He said, might I suggest a clip that shows the bridge? Okay, Cam. I gotta throw that up there. Give me a second. Yeah, I haven't been to Blumenau since 2009. Did I pronounce that right? Blumenau. I think I hit that. Blumenau. I'm learning Portuguese, people. Blumenau. Did I hit that? Come on, somebody let me know if I hit that. All right. Cam Player, give me a second, Cam. Give me a second. See if I can fit that in a little bit. I got to get to one of these games here. I got a couple of games planned for you guys tonight. Wrapping up current events. Thank you. Hey, CJ, how did I do with current events? How me and the boys did? How me and the crew, how we doing? You feel me? How we doing? We might as well eventually call it Brazilian. Operation Steal the Language from Portugal is almost complete. Games nowadays have PTBR for PT. Oh, wow. Stop saying what? Blumenau. That one, Blumenau. I said it right. Blumenau. They won't tell me if I'm correct or not. Y'all got to correct me. Baldoni, Blumenau. Am I saying it right? It's an 8-hour drive where I'm from. Your Portuguese is on point, okay? Yeah, all right. It's on point. So I got a couple of, I don't know what game I want to start with. I'm about to fuck with y'all real quick. I got something interesting. Y'all want to do fusion? Or y'all want to do versus? I'm not going to tell y'all who the champion is. Y'all gotta gamble. Y'all want to do fusion? We ain't done fusion in a while. I kind of think we should do fusion. We ain't done fusion in a while. Or we could do verses first. Which one y'all want to start with first? Let me know where y'all want to start. We could do fusion. Oh, Baldoni said fusion. Okay. Oh, sis say, oh, sis, you ready for the shits? You ready for the shits? I see you now. I see you now. All right. All right, let's do some fusion. Let's do some fusion. Touching the wrong shit. See, I need CJ. I got a new entry for fusion. Let me know if y'all like this. Let me know if y'all like this. Those of y'all who know what the fusion entry look like, you know this, man. Let me know if y'all like this. Something simple. This is the new fusion startup scene right here. You get it? It fused. I'm gonna run it back for y'all because good editing needs to be recognized. I do this. All right. Good editing needs to be fucking recognized. Y'all let me know. Should say fire. Okay. You see the fusion, right? I had the hot and cold, and they fused, and you get one at the end, and then the fusion come out of that. Y'all need to listen. I do this. The fuck? CJ, you see me doing stuff? Where's CJ at? Tell CJ tap in. Sis, you see me doing shit? I got this. I got this. I need CJ back though, but I got this. You see, combined into one, it fused. You see that? It fused. Y'all gotta understand, it fused. Yes. I got y'all. I'm gonna get my fan. I'm gonna turn the fan on because GK is hot. Y'all go ahead and try and figure out who that is. Y'all go ahead and try and figure out who fused to get these two, this beautiful woman right here. Let me see what y'all got. Tiana Taylor and somebody else. I don't know. I don't know if you're right. You might be right. I don't know. I'm waiting for some more people to tap in. Because you might not be right, is what I'm saying. I'm going to give y'all a hint. You got to look right in here. Right in here. You got to look at the lips. Got to look at the lips, sis. When you see it, you're going to be mad, sis. Figure it out, sis. You got this. Figure it out. He said Ciara. Okay. Okay. I'm all right. What might be on to something? Ash Katz and Rihanna, maybe? The fusion looks like Eva Marcel. All right, you know what? Y'all really out here trying to figure shit out. All right. I'm gonna let y'all rock with that. Let me see what we got. Tell me I don't see it now. Tiana Taylor's right. Tell me I don't see it now. You see the Angelina Jolie. They just gave her the dark skin. You see it now. I told you, sis, you wasn't looking here. You wasn't looking here. Definitely Tiana Taylor, though. But you see the Angelina, though. You don't see it? Because I see it. I definitely see it. I definitely see it. Nah, I see it. You're bugging. Look at Angelina. Just look at Angelina. Keep looking at Angelina. That ass, you don't see it, though? Tell me you don't see it. You bugging. I see it. I see it. Nah, you don't see it? All right. Let's move on. All right. I'm going to give y'all a hint. I'm gonna get Black Viper. I'm gonna give y'all a hint if y'all want a hint. If you guys want a hint, I'm gonna give y'all a hint. Go ahead. Yo, Foxy! How you doing? What's going on, Foxy? Welcome in. We playing Fusion right now. For those of y'all, damn, I didn't even tell y'all. For those of y'all, well, you know now, who don't know the rules of the game, this is one person that you're seeing. This person is fused with two other people. Your job is to tell me which two people fused to make this one person. Gordon Ramsay and Gary Owen. Oh, wow. Miss you, my man. Yeah, how you been, Foxy? Welcome in, welcome in. Was busy with family stuff and other. Nah, take care of family, brother. Take care of family first. And I appreciate you making time to pop in. Gordon Ramsay and Gary Owen. Wow, okay. Looks like a younger Gordon Ramsay. You kill him. A, Matt Damon and Ben Affleck. Who said that? Baldoni? Matt Damon and Ben Affleck? Okay. GK, what's happening? That look like Matt Damon. Okay. Farciarelli. Okay, let me explain the rules again. I'm sorry to keep repeating it, but I want everybody to understand what we're playing. Some people don't understand the rules of all the games we play. This game is called Fusion. So the character you see in front of you is fused with two other characters, two other people. Your job is to tell me which two people is fused together to make this one person. If you guys want a hint, ask for the hint before I reveal the two. Ask for the hint if you guys want a hint. Gordon Ramsay and John Cena. I'm not mad at that. I think Gordon Ramsay and John Cena make sense. And I'm not saying they don't. All right, I'm gonna give y'all a little clue. Don't make the same mistake you guys made with the first picture. If you know, you know. Somebody had put in the chat. I was thinking that it was. Don't make the same mistake you guys made with the first picture. Matt Damon and John Cena. Okay, all right. All right. I'm gonna give y'all a hint anyway. Don't always think it's the same race. Not because, you remember the first picture? Looked like a black girl. It was combined. I gave y'all a hint. I didn't say the two people fused was the same race. I gave y'all a hint. I'm helping y'all out. I'm not saying y'all wrong or right, but I'm helping y'all out. Countdown's about to begin. All right. I'm gonna release it. Tell me y'all don't see it now. Who said Matt Damon? Y'all was right. Tell me y'all don't see. Look at his ears. That's definitely Will Smith ears. Over here. That's Will ears. Tell me y'all don't see it now. The ears, man. The ears, bro. Bro, it's not me. I didn't draw the picture to look like this. I just did the fusion. That's all I'm saying. I just did the fusion. Bro said hella cap. Oh, man. I see it. Y'all was wrong. Y'all ain't getting nothing tonight. Come on now, chat. Stop playing. Y'all got this. Sis. Come on, Monet. Calling your name. Monet. Come on. Beyonce and Jessica. Jessica who? Okay, Beyonce and Jennifer. Oh, man. My man Gluttony is coming in with the raid. I appreciate. You guys came at a good time. We did current events and everything already. Let me introduce myself. Welcome to the Game Lounge. I'm your boy, Golden Crush 200, and I am the show. And my co-host, CJ, the DJ, is not physically here right now, but he's in the chat. And the queen of the show is also not physically here right now, but she's also in the chat. Welcome to the show, everybody. WWW Raid. Shout out to Gluttony for the raid. I definitely appreciate you. And you guys came in at a good time. I appreciate you. I appreciate the follow. 100% I appreciate the follow. I will get to following everybody back. Don't worry. GK follows everybody back. You guys don't have to worry. We're just in the middle of the show. And my man CJ the DJ is not here on the ones and twos. It's just me. So welcome to the Game Lounge. We do this every Sunday at 6 p.m. What's up? So welcome in, everybody. Don't worry. Whoever followed me, I will 100% follow back. Don't worry about it. I spread love over here. Shout out to the person that followed. Kitty, are you here right now? Whoever followed, tap in with me down low, and I'll give you a shout out. Let me know you the one that followed. So let me catch everybody up. This is the Game Lounge. This is one of the games that we play. The game is called Fusion. Okay? You're looking at one person, but this person is made of two other people. Your job is to tell me what two people was fused together to make this person right here. Everybody put their predictions in the chat before I reveal the two people who made this one, who fused together to make this one person. Everybody, look at her face. Look at what she's doing. Which two people do you guys think made this character? Yo, Diggs, what it do? What it do? What it do? What it do, Diggs? I talked about your upcoming program earlier as well. Everybody, this is the Diggs that I was talking about. Shout out to the Diggs. Kitty, can I get a shout out for the Diggs, please? Shout out to the Diggs for tuning in. You guys tap in with the Diggs. Beyonce and Jenny on the block. Don't be fooled by the rocks that I got. I'm still Jenny from the block. First I had a little, now I got a lot. You think I didn't know that? You think I didn't know that? Jenny from the block. Come on now. You know I know about that. All right, so boom. I'm going to reveal this one. Don Trill, watch streak read. Don Trill is currently on a 10 stream streak. Shout out to you, Don Trill. Okay, Kitty's driving, so let me give it the shout outs. Shout out at Don Trill. Shout out to Don Trill. I'm going to reveal this one just now, chat. Shout out to Don Trill for the love. All right, so boom. I'm going to reveal the answer for this one so everybody can be on board of how the game goes. And you guys were mostly correct. It is Beyonce and Jennifer Lopez that I fused together to make that other character. So good for y'all. You guys did it. All right, what's the next one? This one's a little obvious, but it may be not so obvious. Fuck. What's going on here? Nutty with the raid. My boy Nutty with the raid. Shout out to my boy Nutty Duddy. Shout out to that boy. Shout out to that boy, man. I appreciate you for the raid. W raid. Again, I'm sorry, guys. I got to introduce myself again. Welcome into the Game Lounge. We do this every Sunday at 6 p.m. I'm the host, Golden Crush 200. CJ the DJ's not here. Neither is Melanated Monet, but that's usually the cast. Welcome in. We're playing the game Fusion. You see a character. Tell me which two characters I fused together to make this one and put it in the chat. Let's go. Welcome in. Appreciate you. If you're not following my boy Gluttony or my boy Nutty Duddy and anybody else in the chat, start doing that right now, because that's what we do over here. We spread love. Follow each other, and that's it. That's the rule over here in the Game Lounge. We spread love. And anybody that dropped a follow on me tonight, I'm getting into the show right now, so I will follow everybody back. Y'all got no worries. It's nothing but love over here. Keanu and Pierce Brosnan. Keanu and Bond. Okay, okay. Definitely Bond and Wick. Okay, okay. James Bond and John Wick, aka Neo, aka Keanu Reeves. All right. All right, so you guys basically got it, but didn't this shit come out good though? Let's talk about that. How good did this collab come out though? You got the Keanu Reeves is usually not wearing a tuxedo. He's usually wearing a suit with a tie. You feel me? But look at the gun and the watch and the drink. That's all the Bond right there. Bro, I just realized that right now. I just realized that right now. I usually try to block them out. I just realized that right now, bro. But you guys are right. You guys are absolutely right. It is 007 and John Wick. The reason why I just put 007 because there's several actors that played 007, which is why it's fused that way. You get what I'm saying? They just put John Wick and 007 him up. All right, let's see what else we got. We got more. Y'all think y'all gonna figure this out? Where my real comic heads at? Y'all think y'all gonna figure this out? You see the part that it says nope? I put that there because they had something said that gave away. You know what I'm saying? Y'all think y'all know who this is. You don't. You don't. I'm gonna go pour a drink on this one. Figure this out, chat. While GK pour another drink. I think this shit came out lovely. I think this shit came out lovely. Even if you don't know who it is exactly, right? Didn't this shit come out gorgeous? This shit came out beautiful. Beautiful. I just want you to know. Come on, chat. Booster Gold and Space goes coast to coast. Okay. Okay, Coaster. Okay. All right now. Okay. Coaster. Relax. Relax in the chat. Relax, bro. Relax. Shit. Magneto and somebody else. I see where you're going with that. I'm gonna react to all of y'all shit if y'all say good shit, whether it's good or not, positively. I see where you going with that, Fonz. I see where you going with that. LJ, I see Magneto there. You see the Magneto? Okay. Okay. All right. I'm not mad at nothing y'all saying. I'm not mad at nothing y'all saying. I swear to it, I'm not mad at nothing y'all saying. Y'all over here playing the game. You see Dr. Fate. I'm loving y'all reactions. I'm not going to tell you if you're right or wrong. But you said you see Dr. Fate. Whether you right or wrong, I like that. Whether you right or wrong, I love that. I see what you did there. I see what you did there with the aesthetics that you're looking at. I love that. You know your shit. I'm going to give you respect for that. You know your shit. I'm going to give you your respect for that. Whether you right or wrong, I'm going to give you your respect for that. This looks like Supernova alone. See where you going with that. I see where you going with that. I see where you going with that, CJ. I'm just saying, I see where you going with that. I ain't say you right. I'm 90% sure Dr. Fate and Fate, I'm a comic head. Okay. Hold on to that. Hold on to that. CJ, hold on to that. That's what I'm saying. The digs. What we know about Pharrell and Snoop. What you mean what I know about that, Pharrell? I just want you to know you're my favorite girl. Oh, don't play with it now. Don't fuck around with GK when it comes to the lyrics. Cause y'all know one time y'all asked for these bars, I'm gonna spit it. Where we gonna go to the top? Cause we got no limit. We grow real tall. GK's not a midget. Stop. Don't let me do it. Chat, I do bars, chat. Relax. Relax. Let's stick to the game. Let's stick to the game. Because Diggs starting some problems. Diggs. Don't start no problems, Diggs. I'm gonna need y'all to shout out. I gotta give a shout out to the digs. Gluttony said it's Nova and Booster Gold. Okay. Okay, Glut. I see you. I see you. Chat, I'm gonna give a shout out to the Digs. Appreciate the Digs for being up in here. Make sure y'all follow the Digs. He got some stuff coming up in the future that I spoke about early in the show. Show some love, Digs. We're gonna get to it in a little bit as well. All right, I'm gonna let y'all see this one right here. I'm gonna let y'all know this. Somebody in chat said it. Somebody in chat got the perfect combination, and I'm fucking ecstatic that somebody said it perfectly in this motherfucker. I'm here for the problems. LOL, bring them. The Dig say Space Ghost. All right, I love this. Watch this. That boy said Nova and Booster Gold. Glut. I'm glad you said that, Glut. Because I fucking love Booster Gold, yo. I think Booster Gold got one of the best fits in the game, my nigga. So does Nova. So does Nova. So does Nova. Nah, Ant, don't feel bad, OTF, because I feel you. I saw where you was going with that Dr. Fate. That's respect. CJ, you called out Nova as well. I think CJ was the only one that said Nova. Respect. Respect. But Booster Gold? I was waiting on somebody to say Booster Gold, my guy. Golded for that. Glut was the only one that hit it straight on. Glut said Booster Gold and Supernova. Glut got it. But CJ was also, I think he was the only one that said said Nova. So CJ was on the money too. All right, this was one of my favorite ones. This was one of my favorite ones, chat. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. This was one of my favorite ones. I love this. It came out nice. Look at this shit though. Look, yo, that shit didn't come out nice. That shit didn't come out nice. Kosher just dropped in the chat, everybody. Let me just reiterate. Kosher just dropped in the chat to submit your clips for a clip of the week. We'll review one of them for the next Game Lounge. Go tap in on the Discord. There's a Game Lounge section there, and there's also a part to submit your clips. The clips that we're collecting are from you guys. Your guys' Twitch, your Instagram, your YouTube. You who was a part of the community. Send your clips in that you make, whether it be gaming, IRL, it doesn't matter. Send it in. We're going to start watching that every Sunday. We're going to have a segment, and we'll vote clip of the day, clip of the week. We'll vote on clip of the week between us watching our shit. You feel me? I don't want clips from people we don't know, that don't know we exist. I don't care about that. I'm not trying to help somebody else go viral. Fuck that. You feel me? Bring our shit here. We all got TikTok, YouTube, Instagram. We make gaming clips, successful clips, all that shit. Bring it here and get it there. Some people already started submitting some clips. So get your clips in there. That's something we're going to start early next month. Y'all tap in for that. Kosher just dropped the link at the bottom and we roll it. Yeah, Glut, you called it. You called it. That was fire, though. That was a good call. That was a good call, Glut. Go ahead, chat. Go ahead. The Dig said Cat Williams and someone. Okay. 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 This is America ass. Hey. What y'all got? What y'all got, chat? What y'all got? Cat Williams and Donald Glover. The Dig said Kevin Hart. Kevin Hart and Cat Williams, Melanie Monet. Okay. All right. Look at his little hands, though. That shit's hilarious. Gameline Discord being powered and brought to you by Made Mafia. Yes. Yes. My co-host may not be here in the physical, but him and the queen is at home, still helping me hold it down, and I gotta clap it up for y'all. So exclamation Discord, guys. Get familiar with that Discord. Game Lounge is familiar with the Made Mafia. Detroit Cozi's link. Cat and Kev. Okay, let's run it. Let's see what we got. There you go. Cat Williams and Kevin Hart. I tried to pick a picture of Kevin Hart when he had hair like that because I saw what the AI did. So I went for a younger picture who had hair when he had hair like that. That's why the hair was looking like that. It was a little creepy looking. I'm not gonna lie. It was a little creepy looking, sis. It was a little creepy looking. It was a little creepy looking. I'm not gonna lie. It was a little creepy looking. All right. Don't worry. Don't worry. Don't worry. I got another game for us. I got 2 more games for us. But I got a question, chat. Females, y'all chime in too, fellas. I got a question for the fellas. When it comes to courtship, when is enough enough? When does it go from I'm courting you to I have you, or I'm courting you to I quit? What's the limit? Fellas, tap in. What's the limit? Holding the stake was definitely Cat Williams. 100%. 100%. Intermission talk. What's the limit? When do you give up? Or does it depend on the woman for you to set a limit or keep going? Is it the vibe? Is it the connection? Is it what you're getting out of it? What is the limit to courtship for you guys, for the fellas? All age groups, tap the fuck in. Tap the fuck in. I think this is an interesting topic, and I want to see what the fellas got to say. Ladies, you guys tap in too. You guys got opinions, tap in too. Because you guys are receiving the courtship. You understand what I'm saying? How is courtship supposed to be received on the female's end? Females, tap in. I love this. Tap in, tap in, tap in. The Dick said after the second date, either we are dating or not. Okay. So Dick said after the second date, it's either we're dating or not. Hey, Diggs, give me some more information on that. What do you mean by that? Second date, the second time you guys go out. So you're saying dating or not, meaning by the second date, you guys should already know that that's your girlfriend. Established is what you're saying. Courtship is over. We're now established or not. That's what you're saying? Tap in. Koza said, when she meets my mama, hoes don't meet Mom Dukes. I got nothing to say on that, Coz. Twin. I got nothing to say on that, twin. I'm 41 years old. It's very few females that I've messed with that I've met my mother. Extremely small bucket that I've actually said, hey, ma, here's so on and so on. I want you to meet her. Not a lot. I can't argue with you with that. That is, if I introduce you to my mama, you my bitch. Sorry for using the B word, ladies. You my lady. Let me correct myself. You mine. You mine. Because then Mom Lou's gonna want to know, hey, what happened to someone? Why I don't see her no more? Hey, listen. You understand what I'm saying? Koza. There you go. Okay, hold on. I wanted this rebuttal right here until you ask her to be your girl. I see what you're saying there, sis. I see what you're saying there. But what I'm trying to say is, when is it far enough where you ask that question? You get what I'm saying? Where you say, okay, enough is enough. How long, I'm asking the fellas, how long you wait for that? Is it before the first date or after? Is this before the first date? Well, courtship is from you meet her and you're no longer like, you meet her on that table of I'm trying to get to know you, and she receives that. You know what I'm saying? That's where courtship starts. So the first date probably is part of courtship. Second date too soon. Kitty, Kitty, I think it depends on the two individuals. Cause I think vibes work different. You could court somebody for 3 months and be unsure, and you could meet somebody in a month or two, and you're more sure about that person than the person you knew longer. It'd be like that sometimes. But I do see what you're saying. The second date, because you could do 2 dates in 2 weeks. You see what I'm saying? I could meet you this week, Monday. We could talk. I could take you out Saturday. I could take you out the second time for brunch or lunch Thursday, Friday. That's just 2 weeks of knowing you. I might agree with Kitty on that one. Determining on timeline positions. Kitty got a point. Coda say, stay with me now. Melanated Monet say, I agree with Kitty. I might agree with the ladies on that one. Limit is honestly date 2 or 3. Anything after that, you're simping. I could say by date 3, you must have an idea of a solid what's happening here. You can't keep after date 3. Like, listen, what we doing? You feel me? We gonna make this work or try to, or am I just gonna keep taking you on 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 dates? Like, you feel me? I agree with CJ as well. But men, hold on, sis said, men has to say something as well, LOL. Like we doing here, I'm your girl or not. I agree with that. I can't, because you know why? I'm gonna tell you why GK agree with that, sis. Because you gotta have verbal communication. If you just gonna keep taking her out and not initiate the next step verbiage, communicate that, then that's probably your fault because you're the suitor. You're the one courting her. You get what I'm saying? You got to let her know what your intentions are and put it. She got to give you an answer at some point, and you got to ask the question. So I don't disagree with that. Closed mouth don't get fed. I don't disagree. Ask stay until I say so. Hey, listen, I ain't arguing with you, playboy. Dick say, second date, you need to have at least conversation about where we're going with this before the third date. If I'm doing all the courting, that means I'm spending the money. For me, I'm not spending any more money than the second date. Hey, listen, that's not a bad point. Y'all ladies also got to understand the longer the courtship, the more niggas got to keep paying. You get what I'm saying? Niggas ain't trying to be cheap, but we got to figure something out. Am I now taking my girlfriend on a date? Or am I still just taking the girl I'm courting on the 19th date? The boy got a point though. Diggs, I don't disagree with that either. Okay, so sis says, Monet says, I say after date 3, but also depends because y'all are on the phone every day, all day, etc. That point y'all are dating. That's a good point. That's a good point. What's the communication and what's the closeness level in between those dates? That's a great point. I love that point. Are you guys talking a lot? You guys really getting to know each other in between that? You get what I'm saying? In between date 1, date 2, possibly date 3. What's the communication level like? I love that. I love that. That makes so much sense. How close are you guys in between that? Or did you just see her Monday, talk and text once, and then see her Friday again? That's a little different. You guys don't have that togetherness as two people who actually put the effort to talk. Sis, I see your point on that. Why are we rushing a relationship? What happened to taking your time and getting to know somebody? Well, we're not really saying rushing a relationship, but after courtship is, you know what I'm saying? It could be expensive. And if the fellow really likes you, then we got to see what we're doing. Not necessarily rushing, but we got to see what we're doing. We got to have a idea, somewhat of idea of what we're doing. You get what I'm saying? Are we trying to go left or are we trying to go right? And not at all. We got to have an idea of what we're doing. We're going somewhere or not. I feel that. Baldoni said, well, I don't date to form long relationships, so it's kind of hard. Well, because but I mean, it's not kind of hard. You have a goal. Whatever your goal is, it's not for a long relationship. So I'm pretty sure you let that be known at the beginning. And there's nothing wrong with that. When it's just not fun anymore. Because you're in it for the fun. And ain't nothing wrong with that, Bal. OTF said, Kitty, I gotta agree with you on that. Become best friends first, get to know each other on that level and take it up from there. Ain't nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. Absolutely nothing wrong with that. Yo, why are you always gotta pay? I don't mind paying you guys dealing with some gold diggers. You know what? I'm gonna address that. I'm not gonna call nobody no gold digger. I'm not doing that. I'm gonna address it in a mature way. I'm gonna address it on two sides. We can, when I just meet you and stuff like that, in proper courtship, I'm old school. I'm taking you out first couple of dates, whatever. You understand what I'm saying? But in hindsight of that, I'm attracted to female that's after a while, it's like, we don't gotta go to a restaurant. We don't gotta go do nothing expensive. Let's just hang out. Are you okay with that? That way, none of us really gotta be spending. None of us really gotta be coming out of pocket because we still just getting to know each other. Can we go hang out? Can we go to the park? You want to go do something simple? I'm grown. I don't think going to the movies with a female is a date. But at this point, you want to just go catch a movie, hang out. Just two people hanging out, getting to know each other, have a little kiki and ha-ha-ing, get a drink after. Something simple. You want to go for a walk? You feel me? We don't always gotta be spending money. But some females, not all, take me here, take me there, do this, do that. That's where it becomes like, hey, I mean, like, why can't I get to know you? But Kitty, that's a great point as well. I appreciate you. Yeah, when it comes to a relationship, this is what OTF is saying. OTF says, when it comes to a relationship, she betting to be paying for dates too, everything in 50-50, and at the end of the day, facts. I say, me, I'm old school. At the beginning, I got you. If I'm trying to interest a young lady or whatever, I'm inviting you out on a date. I'm old school. The first 2 dates, I would say, we good. After that, maybe we go 50-50. That's me. That's me. That's me personally. If I'm interested in you like that. If I want to make something happen, I'm trying to show you the good side of me, give you good courtship. I'll take you out, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Let's go eat. Feed a motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? Ha ha and laugh and shit. I'll pay for a couple of drinks. You know what I'm saying? Bro, 6 months is crazy, CJ. Bro said, nah, I'm cheap. Only special ones get my money. But you ain't lying. That's OG shit, Diggs. Come on. That's OG shit. Oh, if I like you like that, that's what I'm saying. If I like you like that, I got the first couple dates. That's what I'm saying, Diggs. Diggs, shut up. You saying too much, Diggs. Shut up. Shut up, stupid. You over there giving all the secrets and shit. Shut up. Stop it, Diggs. Cut it out. Don't let him know everything, nigga. He said, yes, I let you know at the beginning. I don't. Exactly. I can appreciate that. If I'm courting you, I've literally had females told me, not really looking for a relationship with you. I just like hanging out with you and having fun. Okay. Thanks for letting me know. Now I don't got to set up myself to be in that lane. You feel me? Oh, this is what we doing? Cool. Appreciate you letting me know. I just continue having a good motherfucking time. Yeah, let's watch some anime. Yo, I've never had a girl say nothing like that to me. Let's watch some animes, nigga. Put your Superman shirt on and put the shit on TV. What? You want to be Lois? Bind the ring, nigga. Hold the record. Put the shit on. Let's get married right now. Fuck it. They said, that's why, what did he say? Both parties don't care as long as they getting good sex. Hey, listen, Ash, that's when you just having fun. LJ said, bro, I need a chick who fucks with anime and game. If I had girls attempt to game, but I'm gonna tell y'all a girl gaming story. LJ said that. I'm gonna tell y'all a real story. Watch this. Watch this. This is a real story before we play the next game. This is a real motherfucking story. So I was at the crib, right? Long story short, shorty I was messing with, bad as hell. I gotta add that part in because she was OD bad, right? Which is a few years ago, like maybe 4 years ago, right? Didn't stream or nothing like that. Shorty came over. I got the headset on, got the controller in my hand. Everybody know I'm not that good at Call of Duty, but I was trying it, right? I was trying it. I was online playing Call of Duty. I was trying it. Shorty was sitting right next to me and shit. She said, let me play. Play no Call of Duty. Why? She's like, I play Call of Duty. Let me play Call of Duty. She said, I'm better than you. I ain't good at Call of Duty, whatever, right? So I'm just like, I got my niggas in my headset talking. They're like, yo, who that? I'm like, she talking about she won't play. They're like, let her play, nigga. So I give her the controller. I'm sitting there. She got the controller in her hand now. I'm just sitting there. I still got the headset on. I'm still hearing what niggas is saying. You feel me? Check this shit out. Tell me why she started busting ass, nigga. Shorty started clapping nigga, blow, 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 blow. And I'm like, I still got the headset on, nigga. I kid you not, niggas I was fucking were just like, yo, this shorty, nigga? I was like, they like, nigga, she better than, they like, give her the headset. I said, they won't talk to you. I was just sitting there at a while, just watching her bust ass in Call of Duty. And I wasn't even mad. I'm just like, you making my numbers look crazy right now. She had crazy numbers, nigga. Go ahead. You got it. Go ahead. It's your game. I don't even want to play no more. Go ahead. You good. The fuck is you talking about? Don't even give me the niggas in my headset say, yo, give Shorty the headset, bro. Like, you shit. Give said, give her the headset, B. Crazy work. He said, oh, you want she was really trying to do. That's code for let me play so I can turn you on for some app. Listen, Diggs, I keep telling Diggs. I told the PG version of the story, nigga. Why Diggs gotta always go there? Diggs be just telling all the secrets. I didn't say all of that. You ain't wrong. You stupid. Shut up, Diggs. You over here just, damn, son. The story was about Call of Duty. She was a good gamer, my guy. Sheesh. Diggs. Come on, bro. We know. Hey, listen. I let Shorty play Call of Duty. It's all I'm saying. She was nice with the stick.
You know how long I've been waiting for this?
She was nice
I'm
on the
about to make
stick,
a name for
nigga.
myself here.
Where he at? Tell what Baldoni said. Beat me in what game? She could be, yeah. I had a girl that will play co-op games with me once. Also, that was in the anime. She introduced me to Naruto. Wow. Why aren't you married to her, bro? What the fuck? Don't forget to drop a follow at the Game Lounge. Yes. Ash Ketchum. I appreciate all y'all for helping me out, even from the chat, man. CJ the DJ, Ash Ketchum, and Melanated Monet. Y'all presence is definitely still felt in the house, and we appreciate you. Yeah, you're playing on the stick, right? Yo, bro, listen. She ain't had no stick drift, you know? Yo, Dig, shut up, bro. Shut up. All right, we gonna play another game before we continue another discussion, because Diggs is wild. Diggs just out here just dropping all the secrets. All right, we gonna play versus. I feel like we ain't played versus in a while. And I feel like right now, the dude who I got as our champion, he up right now. He up right now, like, he up right now. He that nigga right now. So, we're going to switch on into it. And, and we're going to start playing. Knock if you, but you listen, Diggs, shut up. It's a PG-13 show, Diggs. It's a PG-13 show, Diggs. I'm going to need you to shut up. I kind of did, GK. We lived together, but she was significantly younger and eventually decided she wanted to enjoy life a bit. Bitch tried to get a half my... Oh, no. Get... What? Get the fuck out of here trying to get half the crib. You have to get rid of that fucking Jezebel. Fuck out of here. All right, chat. Let's get into our next game of the evening. Y'all already know. This is a versus game. And I'm not going to tell y'all who the champion is until you see for yourself. All right? Do you realize that you are a champion? Yeah. Y'all don't even know what track that is. All you old niggas, shut up. Don't tell these young niggas nothing. You know, shit about that. All right. Here's our next game, chat. Y'all load it up. Let's go. It's a versus game. I think I wild out with this versus though. I got characters from so many different aspects. It's retarded. The last nigga. Let me know what y'all think about the last motherfucker. Wait till the last. I ain't gonna say nothing. Dig, shut up. Said like we don't know. Hey yo, Koza. Shut up, twin. They be watching, twin. Shut up, twin. The digs, twin. Koza. They be watching. You remember what they call me, the auntie slayer? They be watching, but shut up. Shut up. I'm trying to do a PG-13 show, nigga. Stop it. Stop it. Yes, I did. So packed it up and brought it back to the crib. All right, let's get into this game right here, chat. Without further ado, let's get into verses and let's introduce our champion. My boy CJ the DJ. Yes, sir. Clap it up. That's your co-host, y'all. Can't forget our queen of the show. That's our queen of the show right there. Clap it up. All right, let's rock. That's the crew right there, y'all. That's us. Introducing our champion. Here he is, versus time. Wagwan. Y'all see him. That boy in the streets heavy right now. Y'all know who that is. Yeah. Come on, y'all see what he's saying. I'll take any challenges. He about that life. Thrag about that life. Let's who's gonna try and fight Thrag. Let's keep the score. Hold on, I gotta get a pen and paper because we gotta see if Thrag gonna win. Where the pen at? Because Monet's not here to do the score. You feel me? They got me doing the goddamn score. The host of the show ain't supposed to be doing the goddamn score. Now they got me doing the score. Thrag over here. And everybody else over here. So our champion for the night is Thrag, y'all. I don't know how Thrag is gonna do tonight, because this is a rough one. This is a rough one, chat. I don't know. Thrag gonna have to do something. I don't know. All right, let's go. Oh my God. What did I do? I don't know if this even makes sense. I don't even know why I did this. Thrag versus Kaido. Where y'all at with it, chat? Where y'all at with it? Okay, Ashe Thrag. Ash say Thrag. Baldoni say Thrag. I don't know who Thrag. Oh, damn. Thrag is the, right now in Invincible, he's the final boss. At whatever season we at, he's a Viltrumite. Thrag is a Viltrumite like Nolan and Invincible. OTF, Thrag. Viltrumite leader, right. Let me get the pencil. So everybody say Thrag? Oh, shit, okay. One for Thrag. All right. Hey, I'm not arguing with y'all. Y'all want to know what I think? Y'all want to know my opinion? Are we filter? Did you guys filter in the fact that Kaido has Conqueror's Haki and not just, what's the word I'm looking for? He had Observation Haki, means he can sense Thrag and Thrag can't sense him. Did you guys think about that? Did you guys think about that? I know you never liked Kaido. That's my dog. But did you think about that, though? He has future sight to an extent, bro. He can see you coming, bro. And I believe he's strong enough to hurt Thrag. I believe he is. Kaido can have whatever he wants. Thrag can punch a man to outer space. You're right. We're talking about people who fight in space. There's no argument. Fighting in space don't give you the win necessarily, but that's a great point. All right, so Thrag it is. Thrag it is. Yeah, I got. I got. Thrag got one. I got. Easy. Easy. Bob, you said easy. Easy. I don't know if I agree with that. I don't know if I agree with the easy part. I think y'all underestimating thing. Superman copy don't mean you're as strong as Superman. I don't know. Homelander's a Superman copy and a thing bodying him, so that doesn't really mean much necessarily. Superman copy don't mean you're on Superman level. Let's get that right. Cakewalk. Wow, Jesus. Cakewalk, my guy. I'm not putting the Hulk versus Thrag. You guys are giving Thrag way too much pump. Thrag versus the Hulk is overkill. No. I'm refusing that. No. 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 That's not even an argument. That would be easy for fucking Hulk. That's a walk in the park for Hulk. That's a warm-up for Hulk. Stop it. Cut it out. Don't do that. Don't disrespect Hulk like that. Hulk is dog walking this nigga all day without trying. Without trying, bro. Hulk will stand there and let this nigga punch him in the face as hard as he can so he can have a good laugh. Like, stop it. Cut it out. Cut it out. Thrag, you do realize that the Hulk takes punches from, the Thing takes punches from the Hulk and keeps trying to fight him. You guys do realize that, right? I don't understand. I don't understand why you guys are so easy to say Thrag over the Thing. The word easy is crazy to me. I'm almost 50-50 with this. I'm almost 50-50 with it. What Thrag have over Thing is speed and flight. He has other amenities, but strength-wise, I'm not trying to write the Thing off so quick, bro. I'm not. I think this is at least the debate starts at mid difficulty if Thing loses. Mid, and I'm talking high mid. Thrag gonna have to work for that win. Nah, Thrag won't, that fight won't even start. Thrag will go home. He'll go home. Thrag and all the Viltrumites is getting bodied by the Hulk. Stop it. Like, all 40 of them that's left, or 50 or whatever, they're getting bodied by one guy. Cut it out. It's not even an argument. Hulk, stop it. Diggs, cut it out. See the chain. See the chain. Don't start. Don't start, Diggs. Don't start. You already know, homie, Hulk don't play. Nah, not versus no damn Viltrumite. Hell no. I still think this is a debate. I think you guys are giving Thrag too much pump and not giving Thing enough credit. Thing clashes with the Hulk. He don't win, but the Hulk considers him strong enough to have fun with. That's a feat, nigga. Hulk wouldn't consider Thrag strong enough to have fun with. One punch. Listen to what I'm saying. One punch from the Hulk that the Thing can walk away from or get back up from is taking Thrag's head clean off, bro. Clean. Clean, bro. Clean. Clean. Viltrumites crack easy. They break easy when you put them on tier with other strong niggas. I think y'all need to recalibrate y'all knowledge here. Y'all not giving Thing enough credit. I'm sorry. How is it a Superman race copies beat by these guys? They are literally like how are they like Kryptonians, bro? How? They're nowhere near as strong as Kryptonians. What are you talking about? How, bro? Like, are they even bulletproof? They're not even like crack proof. You can punch the shit out of these niggas and they'll die. Like, stop. No, bro. No. No comparison. Cut it out. No comparison. Nothing. Thank you, Diggs. They're nothing like Kryptonians, bro. They're not even close to the level of Kryptonians, bro. Not even close, bro. Zero comparison, bro. Cut it out. No, yeah, well, CJ, good question. He is a good battle tactician and he is a good fighter. Don't sleep. I'm not sleeping on Thrag. Thrag is nice. But I'm saying, does he have the punch power to put the thing down? Is what I'm saying. Does he? Y'all asleep? Does he? Does he? I'm going the Thing on this one. I'm sorry. I'm not voting with y'all. I'm going with the Thing. Oh, Cliff. Oh my God. Cliff. No, you did not, bro. I'm going the Thing on this one. I'm going the Thing on this one, bro. I'm sorry. It's a good fight. It's almost 50-50. But I'm going to go the Thing on this one. Nah, you let me down on that one, Cliff. The Godfather, you made a decision that I must not agree with today. I mean, Thing versus Hulk, though. Yeah, clearly the Hulk wins. But the point I'm trying to make is the Thing takes punches from the Hulk. He puts up a fight before he gets put down. Don't sleep on that feat. Thrag is not even putting up a fight to begin with. Listen to what I'm saying. Thrag is not even putting up a fight to begin with the Hulk. There's no I'm going Thing. I'm clipping this. I'm calling out all you motherfuckers who said Thrag over Thing. I'm calling all y'all out. I'm calling all y'all out. The only thing that gives Thrag the advantage is he's faster and he can fly. That's the only two. Strength-wise, fist to fist, punch to punch. Thing. I'm sorry. The Thing got it. Fuck out of here. Third best. Okay. And what the 1, 2, and 3 Thrag ain't beating. All right. I'm going to have to give Thrag the point. Y'all outvoted me on that one. And I think y'all don't know what y'all talking about. Cliff. Hulk, Thrag, and Thing. No. I would go Hulk, Thing, Thrag. Hulk, Thing, Thrag. Again, I'm gonna make my statement. The hardest punch that the Thing can get up from the Hulk, he would punch through Thrag. Debate me on that. The hardest punch that the Thing can get up from, that same punch would go through Thrag. It would go through Thrag. Superman and Nolan literally did the same thing. They both flew light years in space. Nobody else can go. Bro, stop comparing Superman to Viltrumites, bro. Just stop. It takes 3 or 4 Viltrumites to fly through a planet that Superman can fly through several planets in the seconds. Why you make me gotta say that? Thrag can't fly through a planet by himself. Oh, it would take him way longer to do it. And he would probably be injured. Superman can fly through a planet 1,000,000 times the size over in seconds. Why are we talking about Superman to begin with? Why are we bringing him up? Let's leave Superman out of this. So you're telling me because Homelander is a Superman copy that he's can do those type of things? Stop it. Stop. Cut it out. Stop it. Cut it out. Don't put Superman's name in the light of Viltrumites. Stop it. Cut it out. I'm telling you, my G, I get what you mean. Strength did this all day, but overall, Battle Thrag is so. I give you that. Did you not hear what I just said? At best, it takes 3 of the strongest Viltrumites to murder a planet. How many planets can Superman murder by himself without even trying? Why do you keep trying to compare them? Is what I'm saying. Why do you guys keep bringing up Superman? Nobody talking about Superman. Leave Superman out of this. Because nobody on this list is beating Superman. I don't understand why you keep bringing him up. But you said Superman copy. Homelander is also a Superman copy, which goes back to what I said the first time you said it. Just because you're a Superman copy, don't make you nowhere near Superman. I don't understand why you keep trying to do that. How would they? All right, you got it. Next, I'm not doing that with you. Homelander can't even hold a plane while flying. I mean, I don't know why you comparing Thrag to Superman to what capacity, bro? Okay, they can breathe in space. And then what? So? I never said Superman invented breathing in space, bro. Or being able to fly through space. Now you're making excuses. You said Superman copy, which would include Homelander, which would include a Thrag, Invincible. That would include what's his name? What's his name? Gladiator. And a nigga with a cape with a symbol on his chest that's strength. I don't understand why you keep saying that. It doesn't. You can't compare Superman to Viltrumites. Why do you keep saying it? Stop saying it. They're nowhere near. Stop saying it. Thrag versus Juggernaut. That's not a competition either. Juggernaut is just going to stand there. I don't understand why you said Juggernaut. Juggernaut's going to eat his food. He's going to eat his food. That's not even a competition. That's just as bad as Thrag versus the Hulk. That's the same level of ass whooping that you're giving this man. I don't understand. You guys are putting Thrag too far up the ladder. Nah, it's not. Do you even know the feat of the Thing? Or you going no favoritism? Do you know anything that the Thing can do? Do you know how his limit to his strength? Or you just saying Thrag because you like him better? I'ma stay arguing with you niggas, cause I think Thing got this fight. Now look, I don't like Superman as much as the next person, but top tier and the most superheroes, just read the comics. Bro, we're not even comparing Superman to none of these bums on this list. Leave Superman the fuck out of it. Y'all voted Thrag, so I gotta give it to y'all, so that's 2. But I think Thing is taking this fight. If he loses, it's because he don't have flight and Thrag is faster. That's the only thing I would say I would agree with you guys on. I don't think he's that strong. All right, I already know how the next one's going to go, so I'm going to gloss over that one real quick. Come on, vote. I know what you guys are going to say. Thrag, Thrag, Thrag. Come on. I'll also say Thrag will take this fight. Yes, I agree. Thrag. Thrag. I agree. I agree with this one. This one I agree with. I agree with this one. I think Thrag will take this one too. Okay, Thrag got 3. I hope Thrag wins this whole thing so I can bring his ass back next week for a rematch and really put him up against Supermans. Really put him up against some real niggas and watch him get washed. I'm not disrespecting Thrag. I think he would beat Luke Cage. He got it. Not disrespecting Thrag. He got Luke Cage. I personally think he would beat him. Yeah, he would. Thrag got this. I think this is the interesting one. I think this is interesting right here. Who y'all got for this one right here, chat? Who the fuck y'all got for this one right here? Why? Thrag's beating Superman? Why? Ash, go to sleep. Cut it out. Stop it. Next. And like Superman on another level, and trust me, I go Captain Marvel, Adam Warlock, and any Celestials in the Marvel universe, but Superman is top tier, bro. Thrag, Hal Jordan version would be better. Nah. You say Thrag? I don't think that's a okay, Cliff and Baldoni. You say Thrag, right? Low difficulty, mid difficulty, or high difficulty? That's what I want to know. Low, mid, or high? Bro, you say let's be real. I don't think you have the extensive knowledge of what Green Lanterns can do, bro. You be judging from a half standpoint. Green is not beating Nolan. Hey, listen, your opinions is like crazy to me sometimes, my boy. Juggernaut versus Thrag. Nah, still Thrag. Juggernaut is fucking Thrag up. What the what? What? Bro, you put Juggernaut up against like the Hulk. That's the same. You're closer in. Juggernaut versus Thrag is not even a fight. Juggernaut's not even going to take him serious. He's not even going to take him serious. To be honest, Thrag can take a fight with Superman. I'm going to need you to explain yourself on that one, because we're not moving off of that. Why would you even say that? Why would you even say that? That's probably the dumbest shit I heard all night. Why would you even say that, bro? Defend yourself, bro. Defend yourself, bro. I'm not moving. The show ain't going nowhere. Write something in chat that defends that. Fuck it. You said it, defend it. You said it, defend it. You said it, defend it, bro. Exploiting Superman established weakness, fighting under a red sun, or utilizing tactical warfare before taking physical damage. So you mean Superman under a red sun, meaning her human? Did you think that through, bro? Superman under a red sun is human, bro. What the fuck are you talking about? So then you're punching a normal guy. Way to go, Thrag. Good for you. You punched a normal nigga. That's like Thrag beating me up. Then you're not Superman. You're just a regular Kryptonian. On Krypton. That's your point? We said Superman, meaning you're Superman, my guy. That's the point of a versus. When you say Superman, you mean Superman with the fucking powers, my guy. Not Superman on Krypton in his natural element, because we know he gets powers from the sun. You tried to be a little bit too out the box, and that was just dumb shit, my guy. We said Superman, bro. Meaning on Earth. With yellow sun. As Superman. The way Superman comes. As Superman. That's like saying a Super Saiyan that can't transform to Super Saiyan. That's like saying a Green Lantern, but I'm going to take his ring. That's like saying Batman, but he's a dumb nigga and don't know karate. And he's broke. That's like fucking... What? That's like some universe where some nigga's name was Clark Kent that was born on Earth. Why you piss me off like this, bro? Why you piss me off like this? It says... Bro, piss me off, bro. You made me a little mad, bro. Piss me off a little bit. Just a little bit. I'm a little upset you wrote that. I'm a little upset you wrote that. So you want Thrag to beat up a human? Normal guy? Like, just walking out of his crib, getting coffee? At Starbucks in the morning? I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't know. Thrag requires and uses kryptonite. He can instantly strip Superman of it. But again, you guys, you're repeating the same dumb shit. It's a versus. I didn't say you got kryptonite. I didn't say that. It's the verses. Stop trying to take Superman down to make a fucking point. Anybody can beat Superman if you slap kryptonite on him. I mean, that's the victory you want? I said Superman, my guy. Like, Superman. Nigga that come with, yo, M, I appreciate that, M. The nigga that come with all the strength and the speed and the eye lasers and invulnerability and shit. That's Superman. I don't understand why you gave me a regular Kryptonian. All the niggas fucking strapped up with kryptonite that a 2-year-old baby can punch him in the face. I don't see the point. Hulk versus Juggernaut. Who is the winner? Like we going to say Hulk when the Thing, then the Juggernaut. But if y'all saying that Drag can keep up with Superman, we're not saying Drag can keep up with Superman. Nobody's saying that. I'm not even going to debate that no more. Superman always going to get hate. I get that. But you telling me Thrag, we doing a versus, and you going to tell me Thrag can beat Superman? Oh, because he's on Krypton with no red sun. Because Superman... You understand what I'm saying, CJ? They want to fight Clark Kent on Krypton with a red sunlight and give him Thrag. I'm a little peeved. This is the first time I really got upset. Goku definitely washing Thrag. So you know Superman going, even if we nerf him, he's still going to win. Thank you, Ozus. I'm not saying Thrag can be Superman, but has capabilities close and comparable. How? Every superhero can fly, bro. Is Thrag even fucking bulletproof? Is this nigga even bulletproof? Like, all right, so you guys vote Green Lantern, right? So that's 4 for Thrag. Let's move on. This conversation is dumb. Who y'all got? This is a good one. This is one of the best ones on the list. Everything after this is fire. Who y'all got right here? For Superman, yo, Diggs, let's let it go. Let's leave it alone. They love picking on Superman to make a point because that's the golden standard, and I'm not putting up with it. Let's keep it moving. Let's keep it moving. You feel me, Ozus? Like, make it make sense, my guys. Who y'all voting for? This is a good one right here. This is definitely a good one. I'm not debating on half a point. They don't compare to Superman. That's it. Let it go, bro. Let it go. Stop bringing it up. Let it go. Superman could take on every Viltrumite by himself. Let it go, bro. All of them by himself. 50 Thrags by himself. 100 Thrags by himself. Stop comparing it, bro. Bro's not winning in anywhere. Jeez, let it go. Who y'all got for this one? I'm going to say Hancock. Because realistically, if Hancock don't have his weakness next to him, which he don't, which is the female counterpart, I'm not hating on Thrag. Where's the hate on Thrag? Thrag is the man. He's the fucking champion of the day. Where's the hate? But stop comparing the nigga who he's not comparable to make a point. I'm not gonna let you keep saying shit. Stop comparing to the nigga to somebody who he can't be compared to. Period. Period. Everybody in chat is saying it. Period. You keep pushing the point. Yo, Shukin 9000, welcome in. Yo, Menace, what's going on? Yeah, we over here chatting some shit. Said he done, but still got him heated. Thrag is beating Hancock. You don't know shit then. I'm calling you out again. You over there, keyboard warrior. I know you laughing. I'm calling you out again. No, he's not. No, he's not. No, he's not. Hancock whooping his ass. Period. Hancock don't have no weakness unless his lady's next to him. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? I'm calling you out. Defend yourself. I take all challenges. Defend yourself. If Hancock don't have that lady next to him, he ain't got no weakness. You can punch the shit out of Thrag. Defend yourself, bro. This is the first L that this nigga gonna take for the night. He's losing this one. And if anybody tell me any different, y'all don't know y'all shit. Period. Come at me. I take all challenges. Come at me. If y'all say any different, you don't know your shit. And if you gonna say different, stay quiet. This nigga's getting his ass whooped. Period. Why is the fight in space, though? What is breathing in space? We don't actually know if Hancock can breathe in space. I don't actually know that. But why is the fight in space? Who told you the fight's in space? Thrag ain't strong enough to drag him to space. Since you guys want to be assholes, Thrag ain't strong enough to drag him to space. He's not faster than him. He's not stronger than him. And he can also fly. And he's more durable. Why are we in space? You can't drag me there, so why are we in space? Why? 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 That takes the advantage away from you if you can't drag me there. I'm taking everything y'all saying and I'm going to rebuttal against it. Because y'all be saying some dumb shit sometimes. Y'all piss me off. Y'all be saying some dumb shit. You can't drag me to space, bro. I'm stronger than you. I will break your fucking arms for touching me. What are you saying right now? We're not in space. And you can't put me in space. What are you doing? You're not faster than me. And you ain't stronger than me. What are you saying right now? You talking about a vet. You're not stronger than me. It doesn't matter. You have nothing in your arsenal that can hurt me. Be the vet all you want. This nigga Hancock could be drunk on the street and Thrag can't do shit to him. What are you saying? What is you saying? What is you saying? Hancock has one weakness. The woman. His counterpart. She's not a part of this puzzle. What's Thrag gonna do? You're not punching him. You don't have eye lasers. You're not stronger than him. You're not faster than him. You're not dragging him to space. What are you guys' defense? Everybody's saying Hancock wins. What is you guys' defense? Stop saying dumb shit. I need explanations. He spit facts as long as he's away from the woman. Thrag is done. Thank you. Thank you. And the woman ain't included. That's Hancock's only fucking weakness. That's Hancock's only fucking weakness. What is y'all saying? What is y'all saying right now? I don't understand. Niggas saying Thrag and can't defend it. I don't know what is going on here. I always say facts, bro. I'm unbiased. They be trying to come at me. I'm unbiased as fuck. I always say facts, bro. I just labeled it, bro. I'm strong. He will punch right through him. Chat, defend what I just said. He will punch right through him. He's faster than him. He's stronger than him. What are you saying? He's more invulnerable than him. He's actually more of a Superman copy than he is, my guy. You want to bring up the fact? Know what? Know what? Know what? Explain yourself, because then you're just trolling and you got no knowledge. Calling you out. I'm calling you out. I gave you all the platforms. Hancock got one weakness. The woman. Explain yourself or we're moving on. Thrag loses this one. It's 4-1. Fuck out of here. Tell him again, OTF. He's trolling right now. He's trolling right now. He got no knowledge of what the fuck he talking about. As Stan Lee once said, the winner is... Sorry, guys. This is a more important message. I hate to break the show's momentum. They must be trolling that fool Hank. He trolling. He gotta be trolling. So this is Thrag's first loss. Is it really? I think y'all washed up Green Lantern too quick as well. But anyway, let's continue. Yeah, I see who's up there. Hancock gives the business. Come on, Diggs. There's not even enough material for Hancock to be even beat Thrag. What material are we go? Did you watch the fucking movie, bro? The nigga's invulnerable unless the woman's next to him. It was explicitly fucking explained, bro. Thrag is not punching through that. Moving on. Stop it. Thrag Iron Man. Who y'all got? Iron Man, second L. Thrag takes it. Okay. I'm gonna give Thrag the W on this one, too. I'm going with Thrag. I think Thrag will wash him up, actually. Yeah, I agree. Thrag. The Mac Menace, I like how you say it. The first encounter, Thrag takes it, but there ain't no second encounter. It's just a versus. So, Thrag. I'm gonna go all the way Thrag with this one. Thrag gonna wash him up. He gonna rip him the fuck out of that suit immediately. Maybe Iron Man had knowledge of Thrag. He could come up with something. It's possible. Yes. That's what I'm saying. It's only the first encounter. No pre-knowledge of what you're going up against. Now, Thrag lost to who was before? Who was saying that? Hancock, bro. You got outvoted, bro. That's not just me. Everybody voted Hancock. What the fuck is you talking about? That's not me. Everybody voted Hancock. I mean, we talking this Iron Man, the most regular accepted version of Iron Man, not the, we all know they got super levels. We talking the most common depiction of Iron Man, which would be this one right here. So, all right, everybody say Thrag on this one. This was interesting. Let me see who know they shit. Let me see who know they shit. Let me see who know they shit. What y'all got? The Diggs, okay. The Diggs and A-Cash. Everybody just saying Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman, no fucking question. You're damn right. OTF says Wonder Woman. The Diggs Wonder Woman. A-Cash Wonder Woman. Baldoni WW. Okay. All right. Okay. Okay. This is what we're going to do. Yeah, I know the winner has to get a rematch next week. Defend the title. So if Thrag wins, we're going to throw him up against next week. So Wonder Woman clearly takes that. I also vote Wonder Woman. I think that's low diff. She busting his ass. Like, he ain't got shit for her. She busting his ass. What y'all think about this one right here? He ain't answering because he know Wonder Woman busting her ass. Yeah, Diggs. Yeah, Diggs. You see what I did here, Diggs? You see what I did here, Diggs? Yeah. Who y'all got? A-Cash say Mr. Popo. Okay. Okay. What y'all got? Diggs. Who you got, Diggs? Yo, Ash, you ain't shit. Why you ain't answer the other one, Ash? Why you ain't answer Wonder Woman versus Thrag? Because you got no defense. She whooping his ass. Fuck out of here. You a troll ass nigga. Low key, Mr. Popo may take it. Ain't no May. Ain't no May. He whooping his ass. I think Mr. Popo whooping his ass. He whoop. Yo, yeah, I did him dirty on this one, right? I did him dirty on this one. Slap, straight slap, bow. It might be a one slap fight. I don't know. It might be a one slap fight. I say Mr. Popo, low diff. Low diff. Low diff, Mr. Popo. He said that's one dude arguing that. He's silly as hell, boy. So what you got for this one, Ash? Mr. Popo or Thrag? You want to know what, though? We argued on that. I fucks with Thrag. I like Thrag. I think Thrag is fucking nice. I think Thrag is fucking that nigga. You feel me? He look like an 80s porno star. Tell me Thrag don't look like a young Ron Jeremy. If you know who Ron Jeremy is, tap in. Diggs. Tell me that nigga don't look like an 80s porno star. Nah, you wildin'. You didn't say Thrag just now. Now I know you definitely trolling today. You did not say Thrag. Fuck out of here. It's the stash. It's the stash. LMAO, young Ron Jeremy. Baldoni, how you know who Ron Jeremy is? Baldoni. What you watching, bro? Baldoni. What you over there watching, my guy? What you going? I see you, Bal. You wildin'. Bro said he sees wow. Wow, the troll. Wonder Woman beating Thrag, but Mr. Popo is not. Bro, where your power scaling come from, bro? That's crazy. So Thrag loses this one. Everybody voted for Mr. Popo except for Ash Ketchum because he's a rage baiter and we all know it. We got one more. We got one more. He's literally not touching him. I seen Mr. Popo snatch up Gotenks and Trunks when they were in Super Saiyan form. They was trying to run from this nigga, snatched them like this and pulled them down in Super Saiyan form, bro. Thrag's not even reacting to that. That's crazy work. But anyway, I think I got one more after this, right? Now, I'm telling y'all right now. Why would you see, here's what I'm saying. What's wrong with your power scaling skin? Even though I know you rage bait and bringing up Superman. If they put Superman with Goku, why would you put Superman with Mr. Popo? See what I mean by your rage baiting falls off sometime? Why would you put... So then by that standpoint, if Mr. Popo can beat Superman, right? Then Mr. Popo can beat Goku, right? That's what you're saying right now? Or compete with Goku? I don't know, man. I don't know what you're saying right now. I'm not even going, right? I don't know. I'm not... That's what I got for you on that one. I don't know. I gotta laugh at you. I don't know. I give you history with one of these right here. I don't know. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know. I don't even know who Superman is. That's your you. Who that? What he do? What Superman do? I don't know. I don't know this nigga. I don't know this nigga. You feel me? I don't know. I know he is. He ain't shit. All right, so Thrag takes another L. Oh, I do the Mac Menace. This is called the Game Lounge. I'm the host. Usually I have CJ the DJ, Melon, Monet, and Bigger Cass. Sometimes also Ash Ketchum, even though he's trolling right now. I do this every Sunday at 6 p.m. called the Game Lounge. Every Sunday at 6 p.m. We start at 6 p.m. until the show lasts, and we do this every Sunday. So welcome in, and make sure you pop up every Sunday, man. We do debates, we do talks, we do all this over here, man. We sip and we talk. Because Thrag is a powerhouse. Nobody rage baiting. You're right. Powerhouse. Thrag. So Ash says Thrag is beating Mr. Popo and Superman. Hey, that's what he thinks. So, but Thrag takes another L. I think it's 4-3. No, 5-3. Thrag is winning. Thrag is winning. All right, so I got one more. And I want y'all to pay attention to this one. Before y'all go answering the question, make sure y'all pay attention. Nah, Thrag is the man, but not against these niggas. Watch this one right here, chat. Y'all ready? Fuck around, chat. Fuck around. Let me see who know they shit. Let me see who know they shit. All right. All right. Y'all laughing like this is not serious work right here, chat. Y'all laughing like this is not serious shit right here, chat. Who winning this right here? I'm not trolling. Now I'm the troll. Fuck out of here, Ash. Catch them all. Yo! Who winning this right here? Who winning this right here? I see a lot of Popeyes. With the spinach Popeye, but that's because he's a cartoon and spinach is unlimited power. Hey, I'm just saying, chat. Talk to me, chat. What y'all got right here? What y'all got for this one right here, chat? Thrag is faster and can fly. Hey, that's a good analysis. Popeye doing him so dirty like a Rottweiler on a Chihuahua. Rottweiler on a little Chihuahua? On the little Chihuahua? Why you gotta put the little Chihuahua in this, Papi? Hey, Papi, me no black. Me no black. Me no black. You understand, Papi? Don't come over here with that shit, Papa. Okay, Papa? No. Okay? But Popeye has the Toon Force. There you go. Baldoni said it. Popeye can pick up a mountain and throw it with like minimal effort. Like literally like this piece of paper. This is a whole mountain. Popeye just and just keep it moving. Just keep it moving. Like I seen this nigga like this move a mountain out the way. Just I'm going that way. The mountain's in the way. Let me just create a whole new road. I'm just gonna make a whole new road, nigga. A-Cash, I'm gonna catch you, family. Have a good one. Appreciate you for popping in on those, A-Cash. Popeye beating Superman and... Why we gotta keep going back to that, Ash? Why we gotta keep going back to that, go, Ash? Talking about Thrag. Stop trying to bounce over saying Thrag getting his ass whooped, Ash. That's why exactly, that Toon Force shit. That Toon Force shit. All right, so everybody vote Popeye. I'm gonna start using Popeye more in these scenarios. Cause niggas like Popeye, we don't really be giving them the credit. That Toon Force shit is ridiculous. But anyway, let's clap it up for the guy Thrag. He won. Caused some good debates and some good arguments. So tune in next week. Thrag will return. Thrag will return to defend his championship next week. So Thrag is the winner of the day. Drop a bomb for Thrag. Can't be mad. We can't be mad. Thrag is doing his thing. I ain't mad at it. He is a badass. So So tune in next week for the Thrag to fucking defend his championship, and we see what's up. Or maybe I'll wait a little bit. Maybe I'll wait for a while to give Thrag his rematch. Maybe I'll do a Toon Force matchup, and Popeye will be the champion. That's a good idea. You gonna be there next week to defend the champ? All right, so Thrag it is. Ash Ketchum gonna be here with the rage baiting next week to defend the boy Thrag. So boom, there it is. Boom, there it is. All right, chat. Let me skip on over to the. Clap that up, chat. Y'all energy definitely been there. CJ said, when you close out, just raid his stream for Game Lounge After Party. Okay, he's on. Is he on? Because I'm getting ready to close out soon. Is he on already? All right, people, we're gonna raid on out to CJ the DJ After Party. Okay, well, I got one more game we could play. Tell him to take his time. I got I could spare a couple more minutes with the people. Hey, cool, Frijoles. Welcome in, Frijoles. The best after party on Twitch. Come on, Cam. You already know. You already know. So, here's a part of the show where, is there anything that you guys want to chat about? Anything that happened to you guys this week? Anything happened in current events? Anything you want to fill me in going on in your part of the world, your country, your city, your town? Any questions you want to ask? Anything you want to bring up just for the spark of a debate? This is your time. Drop it in the chat and we'll talk about it. I appreciate you, cool frijoles, with the W's. You feel me? Let me give some more shout outs. Y'all go ahead and put y'all debate, y'all topics, whatever y'all want to talk about, drop it in the chat. And we will talk about it. Whatever you guys want to talk about. Give a shout out to my guy, Cammy Player. Cammy Player supported us with that great video we watched of Brazil earlier. Appreciate you for the knowledge, my guy. If y'all not following Cammy Player, make sure you follow Cammy Player. He's always out there with good knowledge. Thoughts on the Drake album? You know what, cool frijoles, we spoke about that earlier on in the show, part of current events. I haven't heard any one of the albums, so I'm not a great source of information. But social media seems to be divided. But numbers wise, he's selling very good, so I can't be mad at that. According to what Ash Ketchum says, that's a good Drake fan. He said Iceman, specifically Iceman, the album is underwhelming for all the how big they've been advertising it. So I don't know, because I haven't listened to the album fully myself. But cool, I will ask you, did you listen to the album? And what's your thoughts and what's your ideas about it? Do you think it was well worth the wait? Have you heard it yet? What's going on? Talk to us. You was giving free hugs today on Street Fighter. You was using Zangief or Manan or Alex. You said hugs. I'm gonna go with Zangief first. You're sometimes Manan player. Maybe Alex. Third option. Me knowing Street Fighter 6. So which one was it? Am I right? Did I mention the right person? I can't wait for CJ the DJ to start this stream up, because we haven't had the Game Lounge After Party in a while. So you guys stay tuned. At the end of the show, when CJ the DJ is done, we're going to take the show on over to CJ the DJ, and he's going to hit us with the after party like we used to do back in the days. Shout out to CJ the DJ. And if you guys not following CJ the DJ, make sure you do so when we get on his side of the world. I'll give you a clue. The name of the stream was you got me on that one. Cammy Player wrote some shit. Iceman is a radio album. Let me read what Kofi Holder said about Iceman. That's the Drake album. Iceman is a radio album. Habititi is for fans, and Made for Honor is for club music. Okay, I can appreciate that. You give different diversity with each album for what people want to hear. But what's your opinion how good the album are? Cammy Player said, I'll give you a clue. The name of the stream was Offrir des Coins. Gratuits. Offering free hugs. I don't know what that means. Or does it mean offering free hugs like you said, Cam? Iceman also finna feed TikTok vids. Okay, it's a commercial. It's an album put out for the commercial level. There's nothing wrong with that either, though. Make your money. OTF says, I'm not a fan of Drake. Not trying to sound like a hater, but I think he makes female music. He makes pop music. He makes commercial, top shelf selling music. He's easy to sell. He's easy on the ears. But one thing I can't never hate him, but like he makes bad music. I don't really listen to like the whole album, but the boy got a platinum of hits. You know what I'm saying? He got a legacy of hits that it's quite amazing, and I can't hate on that. I mean, nothing wrong with it making a male making female music. I don't really see anything. You make music that females can bop to, depending on the lyrics and shit. That's okay. I mean, you know, it is what it is. That's what singers do. Think about it though. Singers make music for women mostly. There's nothing wrong with that. Male R&B singers mostly make music for women. It's just that Drake is a hip hop artist. Is that wrong? I'm not gonna say that's wrong. You get what I'm saying? LJ asked me, do I think Street Fighter is better than MK? Yes. That's a biased question for me to ask. I think Street Fighter is the best fighting game ever. So I'm pretty much going to vote Street Fighter over any other game. But if you want to ask me specifically MK, I do believe so. But MK is also goated. I got no beef with MK. MK is a goated game. It stood the test of time. And what I like about MK, they created their own lane with how they do the fatalities and the brutalities and how the bloody and stuff. They made their own lane. It wasn't just a copy. So I definitely think they're both goated. But the straight up answer is, fuck yeah. I do think. And I have MK. I have the game. I have Street Fighter 6 and I have the latest MK. So I'm not biased. I do try to play it. Every MK that drops, I at least play this. I buy the game because I support it. I'm a big fighting game guy. I buy the game and I play it through the story mode. Now, I will say this. MK has one of the best story campaign mode for a fighting game. And I'm going to stand on that. I'm going to defend that. It's well done. The story is usually good. The fighting is good. And it's just amazing. I buy the game just for the story. I'll fuck around online a little bit, but not much. But that's my honest opinion. I do think MK have a better story mode than Street Fighter, though. Absolutely. I give flowers when flowers is due. So that's my answer. I'm just catching up. I'm just catching up with chat a little bit. As a Drake fan, I'm biased. It's real cool. So I think it's good. It was good and layered for him finishing on his contractual obligation. That part I agree with. You drop 3 albums to get out of your contract, and if you drop 3 good albums, ain't no else. Business-wise, hey, do what you gotta do to get out that contract. Now he can fully be independent, and I support that. I'm no hater. I'm no hater. If it makes sense for him to do that and get a better leg up, because he got the star power to do it. So I mean, I'm not hating. Ain't nothing wrong with female music. I agree. Hey, I'm not biased to it. You said I wish Street Fighter had fatality. I don't think Street Fighter will ever have fatality. But Street Fighter have supers, but Street Fighter started the whole having supers thing.
Let me hear something. Drop some bars, bro.
Damn, that's crazy. Y'all gonna act for some bars on the game lounge. And I'm about to drop these bars that's gonna make y'all proud. I don't know if I should stay quiet or spit it loud. But I know it's gonna be like Street Fighter. If I win the first round and you win the second round, now we gotta go a third round. And that's gonna be profound. Come on now. That's how GK lay it down. Go to sleep. No peeking. Come on now, whoop that ass. You gonna be weeping. You better close your eyes and say good night. Because if I knock you out, you gonna be sleeping. Stop it. Stop it. I drop bombs for myself. I got bars, baby. I got bars, baby. You ask for bars, I give you bars, baby. Stop playing with me. I see Rose City in the building. I got MK1 if you ever want to run it. I don't mind playing with you, OTF. Whatever y'all want to run, if I got the game, I'll play it. But I'm not gonna promise you that I'm like mad good at the game. Not MK. Barely, fairly decent because I understand fighting games. But MK also has button block. I don't like button block. So I'm like purely just pressing for offense. But we could run it for some fun and not even stream it. We could do a dual stream. Come on, let's set that up. Hit exclamation Discord and get on the Discord, bro. We could link up. We could definitely link up. Let's do it. That's my game, right? MK1. Mortal Kombat. You fucks with Mortal Kombat heavy? Yeah, Mortal Kombat is goated. I don't. Tekken is goated too. I'm just not that good at them. I love Street Fighter. You know what I'm saying? But I'm not that good at Tekken. But I do play them. But I don't have much practice. You know what I'm saying? But you want to get down for some fun? Let's do it. I'm with it. I'm catching up with chat. You waiting for S7? That's gonna be a while. Ash. Street Fighter 7 is gonna be a while. I predict Street Fighter 6 is at least an 8-year game. 8 to 10 years. And I'm dead serious with that. Like Street Fighter is at least an 8 to 10 year game. I don't think it's going any less than that. That's my prediction. At least 8 years. We what going on? What's it? 3.5 years now? Cam, am I right? 3.5 years, something like that. Is Ant cross consoles? I mean MK1. Yes. Is it? I want to say yes. Do you have it? You have it, LJ? Because we could all rock together. We could make this a community. Also in the Discord, there's like a place where it says Street Fighter. You could drop your gaming clips there, your highlights, your gaming clip, your whooping ass, whatever. Drop your clips there, and we could all check it out. Make sure you get down with the Maid Koza, with the Maid Discord, man. That's where Golden Crush 200 in the Game Lounge is located. And like I said, we got a lot of stuff coming up, so I need you guys to stay tuned. Stay tuned. I don't know if Koza is still here. Yo, you heard the bars, sis? Sis, you heard the bars? I was killing just now. Oh, you about to roll up? I'm about to roll up too. As soon as we do this raid. Nice. I don't own it right now, but I might pick it up. Yeah, get it. Can't play, not MK, he says, LOL. Yeah, there you go. Koza dropped the Discord, exclamation Discord. We got a lot of things, a lot of projects and everything coming up, and Koza is making sure that everything is running good. So y'all make sure y'all get up with the Discord, man. Exclamation Discord. I'm going to start being on the Discord and being more active and things like that, showing clips and everything like that. Make sure y'all go down to the Game Lounge when you get on the Discord. Go down to the Game Lounge section and have an area for you guys to put your clips and your IRL videos that you made. Don't send me clips from people that we don't know. I'm taking videos and clips from you guys, and we're gonna run through them every Sunday, and we're gonna vote on clip of the week every Sunday, and that's how we're gonna move forward starting next month. So it's already set up for you guys to go and already start putting your clips there of whatever you made. People already started sending in their clips. Made Discord. Come on, get with it. Cammy Player said, first let me read what Ant said. OTF Ant said, okay, I respect that, homie. Yeah, I was just wanting, of course, just for fun, of course. Sounds good, homie. Join the Discord, man. We got a lot of stuff popping up. If you guys want to keep in touch, especially like Game Lounge stuff and things like that, get into the Game Lounge, man. There's different sections up there. There's also even a section if you guys need help with your streaming, your Discord, if you guys need that technical help, internet setup and all that, Maid Koza is right there. And that's the guy. That's the guy who set up the Game Lounge internet website, gamelounge.live. Make sure you guys check that out as well. Everything was set up by Koza. The fourth wall, Koza. Make sure you guys get down to Kitty, all of these people who got the knowledge to help you guys. Make sure you guys tap in. I wish they made a second Shaolin Monks or a full Mortal Kombat that a little racing game was the bomb. Shaolin Monks is cool. I ain't gonna lie, I did like Shaolin Monks too. LJ say I'm picking it up right now. Yeah, we do a lot of fighting games over here. Let me show y'all something real quick. Most of y'all see this shit already though, but I'm gonna show it again. Look, this is my hitbox, y'all. For those of y'all who are fighting game people, all buttons. I do this, chat. We're not just talking. GK does this Street Fighter. You guys want to play MK. Right now, we're doing Invincible Versus. I got Fatal Fury, City of Wolves 4. I got the compilation disc with Street Fighter 2. I got Street Fighter 3, Capcom versus SNK 2. We got all of that. So if y'all Soul Calibur, sometimes Twin tap in, Detroit Koza, he tap in with the Soul Calibur and all that. And we listen, man, if y'all really trying to do this, start sending in the highlights and the reels of whooping ass. I'm gonna start putting mines in too. When I play Street Fighter during the week and all that, I'm gonna start highlight. I be busting ass sometimes. Let's get down with it. Come on, we ain't fronting over here. Oh, he live right now? Okay, chat. Dates are blind spot, video game knowledge, getting it offloaded There you go, $19. Yo, LJ, what game are you getting for $19, bro? Twin said he always here. That's what I'm saying. Y'all make sure y'all tapping with us, man. The Game Lounge, Detroit Koza. Let me give a shout out to Detroit Koza as well before we go. We're getting ready to wrap up chat. We're going to go over to CJ the DJ. But let me give Twin a shout out real quick. Detroit Koza, please, I'm telling y'all, follow Detroit Koza. That is y'all link to everything. Even though some of the stuff you see here for me, Melanated Monet, CJ the DJ, Koza made a lot of this happen, Kitty and all that. The fourth wall, CJ went in and did his thing on that too. The internet was set up by Koza. I call Koza all the time, hey, you know how we do this in between Koza and CJ the DJ, how we do this, how we do that. Can you help GK out with this through technical issues? Whatever you guys need, it's in this Discord right here. So y'all get down with it. I ain't promoting it for bullshit or likes and all that. Y'all get down with it. I've been fucking with these motherfuckers since day motherfucking one, yo. Before we was in the big studio and all that, when we was just in my basement. You feel me? Before we moved on up. You feel me? I've been fucking with these motherfuckers. I'm giving y'all good, reliable people to lean on. Make sure y'all follow us. Follow Koza. Follow Kitty. Follow CJ the DJ. Follow the Diggs. Follow OTF Ant. Follow Baldoni. Follow Cammy Player. It's what I do. The show's here for y'all. I can't wait for next month, Koza, when we start this new segment. I just want to sit here and watch what kind of city clips and y'all country and states what y'all send in for us to watch. It's going to be amazing. Y'all gaming clips and all that. It's amazing. We got everything over here ready. Make sure y'all get it done. There y'all go. Melanated Monet put CJ the DJ's Twitch in the chat. Make sure y'all start following right now. I need to get, we're going to do that, Koza. We're going to do that. Look at me. Look at the perfect example. Look at me calling Koza for help right now. Koza, what up, twin? I got some shit to do tomorrow. I got to go do some IRL streaming. Look forward to this. I'm going to go to a vegan Jamaican restaurant and do some IRL streaming. Not, well, filming and stuff, but I'm going to bring it to y'all as well right here on the show. Easy with the bricks. LOL, I'll be around. Loaded is GOAT for games on PC. Okay. All right, chat. Let's get ready to raid on out. Let's go to CJ the DJ. We're going to raid on out. I got to do my thing. Everybody, I appreciate y'all for watching the Game Lounge. We're about to wrap it up. We're about to hit the after party with CJ the DJ. Y'all already know what time it is. It's your boy, Golden Crush 200, a.k.a. Mr. 200. We're about to be out. Welcome, and I appreciate y'all. All right, chat. Let's raid on out. Don't y'all go nowhere yet. We still got the after party for y'all. CJ the motherfucking DJ. best co-host in the world. CJ gonna be playing some music because he got the official We Could Play Music shit over there. So CJ, here we come, brother. W Stream Chat, y'all go fuck with CJ, and I love y'all. See y'all next Sunday.